Welcome to Insights into Insurance from the A-Team at Americana Insurance Group. All information provided is educational in nature and not intended to be acted upon without first consulting the appropriately licensed professional.
It's another Saturday morning. That means it's time once again for our Insights into Insurance program here on 1450 KATE with Americana Insurance and a special guest on this Saturday morning. But we'll first welcome in our host, the one with all the answers, Tom Sorensen of Americana Insurance. Good morning, Tom.
Well, good morning, Mike. You mean the one without any answers? Is that probably what you're...
Well, we'll leave it at that. Usually if you call Americana Insurance and ask the professionals down there a question, they have the correct answers.
Okay.
And if they don't, they will look it up, and they will get back to you.
Okay. All right. I'll agree with you there.
All right. That's the number at Americana Insurance. You can give them a holler and talk to Tom or any of the professionals. Michelle, your new receptionist, is there as well?
Yep. Michelle Love, and she's doing a tremendous job, and she's enjoying her job, too.
I mentioned a special guest. Tom, I'll let you do the introduction because I think this is a topic that a lot of people maybe take for granted, and that's a lot of our programs that we do every Saturday morning. We talk about programs, we talk about issues that people just take for granted as you look at your insurance. This is another one that especially, we've had some decent weather as far as fireplaces and stuff, but this is something that people really need to be aware of.
Well, actually, we have had some decent weather, but actually this is kind of where some of these questions I've been getting some phone calls into our office about hooking up alternative heating sources. And so with this nice weather, there's the outside wood source buildings that you can put up and have for wood heat and things like that. But I just thought it would be nice to have Jeff Laskowski, boy, that's a tongue twister, to join us from the Albert Lea Fire and Rescue and talk about the dangers, what is a good thing to do and what's a bad thing to do. And so I want to welcome Jeff to our show.
Good morning, Jeff, and we'll just go by Jeff L. How does that make it simple?
Yeah.
Jeff L.
About where it usually works too. So.
Yeah, Jeff L. So everybody knows if you're calling, it's just Jeff L. But Tom, you had mentioned reducing damage to homes from alternative heating sources. And let's start off, Jeff, is first and foremost, if you are looking at alternative heating sources, there is a rule of thumb that consumers need to really, it's the old motto, I can do that. You need to get a hold of a licensed contractor, no matter what you're doing on these things.
Exactly, yeah. Usually when you look at the cost of these devices and you look at have somebody install it, usually doubles. Then we all of a sudden believe we can do it ourselves because we want to save that little bit of money. But sometimes a little bit of money we save is just that. It's just a little bit of money when something happens big because we didn't install it correctly. We didn't follow the proper mechanical codes, fire codes. You didn't let your insurance agent know that you changed out something that either may save you a little money or you should have changed it. It might cost you a little bit more, but you get better protection because you installed something differently in there.
Jeff, with that said, we have actually had people that have done that and put it in themselves, and all of a sudden we do an inspection, and guess what? They're either going to get their insurance canceled because it wasn't done properly, or they got to redo it all.
And if you did have a claim and it wasn't done properly by a licensed contractor, the insurance, and if you had an accident or a fire in one of these locations, the insurance adjuster, state fire marshal's office could be involved, and they could come back and say that was not installed properly, and you file a claim, they could say, well, sorry, folks, you're out of luck.
Yeah, and we don't want that.
And of course, we're talking about alternative heating sources, and some of those folks also, we're talking, the wood stoves and the fireplaces, but another, for some folks, the alternative heating source is those plug-in heaters that they buy a heater and then just grab a simple extension cord. They plug it into the wall and we're good to go, and that is a no-no as well.
Correct, yeah. When we start talking about space heaters, the big thing to remember with a space heater is you kind of got to treat them like a candle. You only use them while you're in the room. They're considered a supplemental heating source, not the primary heating source, and they should be plugged directly into the wall outlet with nothing else plugged in the wall outlet. You shouldn't plug those into power strips. Shouldn't have them plugged in extension cords, anything, because they can cause all those wires, plugs, and everything to overheat. So it's important that they are individually plugged into the outlet and by themselves.
A lot of maybe homeowners will think, well, I'm going to save a little money on my electric costs during the winter months, and I'm going to grab one of those kerosene heaters. I'm going to put that and try to heat my home that way because that's going to be cheaper. Well, in the long run, not only is it dangerous, you don't want to put a kerosene heater inside your home, I would guess. Not only is it dangerous, but there are fumes that can also affect those individuals as well.
Correct. Yeah, those are very dangerous. I remember back in the day, I remember my grandpa always talking about bringing those in the house in the winter. It helps keep stuff warm. And with the way our homes are so much more energy efficient, sealed up, we're not getting the air exchange with anything anymore. So all those fumes, toxics, everything stays in the home and causes more problems. So it's important that we don't use anything that isn't properly vented. It has to be a vented stove, has to be somehow that those products end up outside versus inside.
Along with that, of course, carbon monoxide, it's the deadly gas. It's odorless, it's tasteless. When you're doing things like that, that can also set off those emissions that really will raise the level of the carbon monoxide in the home.
Yeah, it's important to make sure you have that CO detector in the home. And if it goes off, don't just automatically assume it's just a faulty detector. Give us a call. We got meters. We can come in to verify if something is wrong. Maybe something happened within the venting that plugged up or cracked or something. Because we get a lot of people that, well, I didn't smell anything. Well, you can't smell CO. You can't smell that, and it's that deadly secret one that just sits out there and just waits and hides, and you take a nap, go down to sleep at night, and then you don't wake up in the morning.
Yeah, we've talked about the fact that it seems like when a smoke detector or a carbon monoxide detector goes off, you hear the batteries beep and you think, oh, my battery's dead and I'll just forget about it till morning. You need to take action as soon as you start hearing those beeping noise, because it could be a malfunction, it could be a battery, but why not just dial 911, get out of the home, and have Albert Lea Fire and Rescue come?
Yeah, exactly. Any time of the day, I've heard some people say, well, it went off at 3 in the morning, we didn't want to bother you. We're there. That's what we're there for. Give us a call. We'll come out and check it out.
We're visiting, I'll say, Jeff Laskowski with the Albert Lea Fire and Rescue, along with Tom Sorensen from Americana Insurance. We're talking about some of the alternative heating sources. People may be not aware of some of the different ones. One is that pellet stove that a lot of folks will use, the corn pellets, the wood pellets. Again, you need, if you're looking at purchasing one of those, it seems like a simple thing. You can just put it in the corner of your living room, vent it, and everything will be good. But in reality, you've got to vent that properly. I've seen them where they vent them right into the garage, and all of a sudden now you got smoke in the garage and you got all these other things. The combustible side of it as well is very dangerous.
Yeah, it's important to make sure, like you said, we talked about at the beginning of the show, that it's properly installed. You have somebody that understands what they're doing with it. You can have somebody that understands the mechanical code. You can stop into our inspection office, talk with any of the inspectors to see if they have any additional information on proper installation with them. If you're looking for a good contractor, they can set you up with, who works with those types of devices and get you in the right direction.
Well, Mike, you also said something. You used the word garage. Wood stoves, garages, no. Okay? That is an automatic one that insurance companies will not cover. So
that very key point there. And as we talk with Jeff with Albert Lea Fire and Rescue and Tom Sorensen of Americana Insurance, we're going to talk a little bit more about the alternative heating sources on our Saturday morning visit, but we'll take a quick break and we'll find out more about some of the do's, the don'ts, and the precautions on using alternative heating sources on our Insights into Insurance program here on this Saturday morning on 1450 KATE. We'll be back more with our Insights into Insurance program.
You got a side that wants more space, 'cause every day starts like a race. You got a side that loves that style, but to fit in those shoes gonna take a while. Today life's got you running, tomorrow big things are coming. Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
To learn more about how Nationwide can help protect your many sides, call Americana Insurance Group in Albert Lea and Wells.
Welcome back to our Insights into Insurance program here on 1450 KATE. Tom Sorensen along with myself, Mike Whitus, and Jeff Laskowski from the Albert Lea Fire and Rescue. We're talking about alternative heating sources. And Tom, there are a couple materials that we can ask Jeff about that people may not understand as far as venting.
Oh yeah, in my business, I've been in a lot of houses doing inspections, and I've seen everything from dryer vents to PVC pipe to many different things to vent this, Jeff. So can you give me your 2 cents on what your thoughts are on ventilation on?
Yeah, obviously proper install is important. We've talked about that quite a bit already, but it's making sure you're using the right materials. You just talked about it, the PVC, the dryer venting. If you've got that wood burning stove, making sure it's the double wall chimney pipe and stuff like that, which a contractor would understand and know that information, where it has to be used, when it has to be used, how far above the roof line. A lot of people don't realize that it's got to extend above the highest point of your roof line to make sure you get proper ventilation, because if you don't, you get the wrong wind and it's going to start pushing that smoke and everything right back down into the structure. So it's having all those pieces in place.
And we haven't had the snow here lately, but that would also cover up your vent if it's not properly on the right height, and you get a little snow on the roof. It's going to create a hassle inside the home as well.
Right, and also too, they do sell single wall stove pipes at your local Home Depots, things like that. So somebody might just go, "Oh, stovepipe's a stovepipe." They don't realize that there's double wall, and those are UL or what do I want to say, approved, right?
Approved,
And, right, yeah.
Especially for inside the structure. If you're trying to, if you're passing, say you have it down in the basement and it's got to pass through the first floor flooring and then into the attic space and everything else, it's got to be double wall, because that double wall helps protect, insulate it from the heat making direct contact with materials in the house.
Right.
And we get a lot of them. We go each year, inevitably somebody installs a single wall and something starts on fire because they were running the stove, got a little hot, and next thing you know, they got an attic fire. The fire's running through a void space, and those are the ones that cause the most damage to homes, because as soon as a fire can get into a void space and start running, it just runs through and it eats at the structural members.
And those are the other things that through insurance we know there's certain measurements that have to be done between the space of the heater and the wall, so you don't cause a fire, because there's a lot of heat that's coming from these things that could cause a wall to start on fire. Or on the flooring, there's protectants that you need to put down, but not your everyday Joe that's going in and going to try to install one of these on their own. They don't know exactly what they should be using sometimes.
That's why we want to make sure we get a hold of a licensed contractor. Contact Albert Lea Fire and Rescue. They can give you some recommendation. Also on the alternative heat, we haven't really touched upon it, but fireplaces, a lot of folks have wood burning fireplaces, and they're maybe getting up there in age and they want to change it over into a insert. That is also a licensed contractor. Don't just think you can pick up one of those inserts, throw them in. And if you're not switching it over, the other thing to be careful on these wood fireplaces that you're burning wood, including myself, is that creosote can burn up in the chimney. And you talk about getting hot, that's one thing that can start a fire in a hurry.
Correct, yeah. It's very important to make sure you're burning clean, dry wood. It's best if it's wood that was cut the year before, so that way it's dried out. If you got some green wood, it'll build up creosote very quickly. Again, that creosote starts on fire. It can easily leave the chimney space and cause more damage throughout the structure. So,
what's your recommendation, Jeff, for how often they should be cleaned?
Annually. That goes with any heating appliance, whether it's your furnace, space heaters, anything. They should all be inspected, cleaned once a year.
Should they be done before the year starts, after the year starts, in the middle of the year?
So the best is obviously before the season starts, to make sure everything's ready to go for the year.
Yep.
A lot of people are culling then, so obviously you want to make sure you're as early as you can. I know myself, I've got a reminder the 4th of July. It reminds me to call and get my service technician into my home. So July 5th, I'm usually making the phone call to have somebody come in, because I can usually get them in the first part of August that way, and then I'm ready to go when I need to start using my heating appliance.
I think he's saying he practices what he preaches.
I would say so. And also on alternative heating sources, I know it's been done before. That's folks that are maybe making a meal inside their oven, and then they maybe make some banana bread and they leave the stove door open. On or off, that can also be a very dangerous situation.
Yeah, we actually see this quite a bit. Either a furnace goes out, or they're trying to use some supplemental heat. It's really cold, so they think, well, I'll just kick the oven on so that way I can heat it up. Electric isn't quite as bad as if it's a gas oven. Gas ovens are obviously vented properly to remove the contaminants out of the home. But the issue is when you crack that oven, now it's coming out in the property. The other thing that can happen is stuff around the oven can fall in. I've been on a couple fires for that. Just something fell down the oven, started on fire, burned out. The next thing you know, the cupboards are on fire and didn't see it because usually you're not staying in direct contact with it like you're supposed to when you're cooking. So then something happens, you don't know about it till it's too late.
The best idea is if they're making banana bread, invite me over and I'll make sure that the oven door stays shut.
Even afterwards, and Tom will get it. Also, Jeff, before we wrap up our program here today, you've had a number of what we'll call near misses that people need to be aware of on these alternative heating sources.
Yeah, we've had a few near misses over the years. We've actually had a couple just at the later part of 2018 using kerosene heaters inside of a home. We should never do that just because we don't have the venting. Had a gentleman that got home, wasn't supposed to be there over the winter, decided to pull a kerosene heater inside. Family members came home, found him laying on the floor. Luckily, we were able to get to him and get him revived, but unfortunately, his puppy dog didn't make it. So it's one of those things that we got to make sure we're using these heating appliances, everything properly, so that way they don't cause us problems.
That's a close call.
That was a very close call.
And of course, if you have some questions about alternative heating sources as far as insurance goes, you can always give Tom Sorensen, Americana Insurance, a call.
Yes, you can. 507-377-2000, or you can email me any questions for this show at insights@americanainsurance.com, or go to our Facebook. Yeah, go to our Facebook page or our website at americanainsurance.com.
As always, Jeff, thanks for coming in. Tom, as always,
Thank you, Jeff.
on a Saturday morning, enjoy this nice weather, and we'll see you next Saturday.
You too. Take care, guys.
You've been listening to Insights into Insurance from the Americana Insurance Group. All information provided is educational in nature and not intended to be acted upon without first consulting the appropriately licensed professional.